Indiana Governor Mike Pence is officially the running mate of presumed Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Trump made the announcement this morning on Twitter and said a news conference is planned for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Trump delayed his plans for an official vice presidential announcement in New York City today after the truck attack in southern France. Pence's selection as VP comes after a week of intense speculation and political vetting. Barbara Brozier reports.
Governor Mike Pence's performance at a rally in Westfield Tuesday likely helped him land the job. He not only praised Trump, but didn't hold back when it came to Democratic opponent Hillary Clinton.
We must come together and elect this good man as our next president. But we must elect this strong leader for one more reason. Because Hillary Clinton must never become President of the United States of America.
Pence also touted the state's success, pointing to Indiana's business-friendly climate and a low unemployment rate. He says it's the product of strong Republican leadership in the state, leadership Pence now hopes to take to the White House.
We've cut taxes, we've made record investments in education and roads, and today there are more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the great state of Indiana. That's what Republican leadership gets you.
Pence stuck to his script when introducing Trump, a trait that could provide a good balance for a presidential candidate who tends to get off point. Trump's speech in Indiana touched on border security, jobs, health care, gun control, and terrorism. And he made jokes about speculation that Pence could become his running mate.
I often joke, you'll be calling up Mike Pence. I don't know whether he's going to be your governor or your vice president. Who the hell knows?
Fire Mike Pence! Fire Mike Pence!
But the same day people cheered in support of Pence and Trump, a group of about 100 gathered to protest the potential pairing on Monument Circle.
They say they want to make America great again. Well, by putting those two together on one ticket, they absolutely will make America great again. Only I spell it G-R-A-T-E. They will grate us down until we are absolutely nothing.
Pence made national headlines several times over the past year for his stance on controversial legislation, including the Religious Freedom Restoration Act and a bill that bans selective abortions.
As a woman, I am very afraid about the possibility that Donald Trump might ask Mike Pence to be his running mate.
Experts say the multiple controversies would have made for a competitive matchup between Pence and Democrat John Gregg in November. Now Indiana's Republican Party has to pick someone to replace Pence on the ballot, and that could set off a whole other political firestorm. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
House Speaker Paul Ryan says Pence is a good pick for Donald Trump's vice president. Ryan says it's no secret he's a big fan of Pence and holds him in very high regard. Now, Pence removed his name from the ballot for governor before Trump named him as a running mate. In Pence's hometown of Columbus, Indiana, the chair of the Republican Party says she's heard from a number of people who are disappointed Pence would give up a chance at 4 more years as governor. But they understand the chance to be vice president would be a tough thing to turn down. Other Hoosiers are worried about the potential for Pence to take his policies to the White House.
We need someone who's going to be more accepting of all people, not just the religious white man.
It helps that there's someone on the ticket that I'm sure from his campaign's perspective, to have someone on the ticket that knows what they're doing in some capacity.
Now, we have same-sex marriage and everything. I don't think I think times have changed a lot. I don't think a lot of people in Central Indiana like Pence anymore.
The Republican National Convention starts Monday. That's when Pence will officially become the nominee. His decision not to seek another term in Indiana has already started a scramble, though, to fill his position. Our State House reporter Brandon Smith joins me now. Brandon, so now what does Pence bring to the ballot that Trump was looking for?
Well, Mike Pence likes to describe himself as a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. And those are three titles that Donald Trump has really grappled with in this campaign. So really Pence brings those solid social conservative credentials. He brings ties to big money Republican donors that have so far stayed out of the presidential race. and he brings both executive and legislative experience in government. It's really ticking a lot of boxes for the Trump campaign.
Now, Brandon, we've seen Pence say things on social media that don't align with Trump's views, specifically in regards to trade, Trump's proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S. Does that carry in much weight moving forward?
I'm sure it will be brought up. It's already been brought up with the governor, who sort of brushed it aside so far. He said, I don't always agree with everyone in my party on everything. During his time in Congress, he often liked to point out that he didn't side with President Bush on No Child Left Behind. So he's not afraid to break a little bit with Republican leaders, and certainly not with Donald Trump. But at this point, he's so solidly behind Donald Trump on so many issues, I'm not sure how much it'll matter.
So back here in Indiana, what happens now to find a replacement to take Pence's spot on the Indiana ballot and run against Democrat John Gregg?
Well, the state Republican Party's state committee, a group of about 22 people, they will decide who replaces Pence on the ballot. And we've already seen other major office holders withdrawing their names from the ballots in their various races as they prepare to seek that gubernatorial position.
What are some of those names? Do you have anyone right now interested in taking Pence's spot?
Absolutely. Lieutenant Governor Eric Holcomb withdrew his name from the ballot earlier today and said he's running for governor. Same thing for U.S. Representatives Todd Rokita and Susan Brooks. Now, those are the big names who had to withdraw from the ballot by the noon deadline. There are other people out there, including some state senators, who could run. Former mayor of Indianapolis, Greg Ballard, mayor of Evansville, Lloyd Winnicky. They could run but don't have to withdraw from anything. So we'll see if they throw their hats into the ring a little later on.
So then what are the implications for other Indiana office holders? It seems you're kind of removing that one domino, that you're putting a lot of other things into play.
Sure, absolutely. For instance, with Eric Holcomb, if he becomes the gubernatorial candidate, somebody has to be lieutenant governor then. With Todd Rokita or Susan Brooks, if either one of them get the nod, then their House seats are open. That will have to be filled by somebody, which could be even the Speaker of the House here in Indiana, some state senators who are in those districts. All of them might be jockeying for those positions. So yeah, you're right, absolutely. A lot of dominoes have the potential to fall here.
It's really interesting. The gap between Pence and Gregg was narrowing, signaling that maybe Gregg might be able to keep Pence from winning another term. So now what does this mean for John Gregg now?
Well, you could argue this is bad news for John Gregg. Certainly some will, because a lot of their campaign has been geared towards being almost anti-Mike Pence, that this is what's wrong with Mike Pence, this is why you should go to us. They will certainly try to tie whoever replaces Pence on the ballot to some of his policies. That'll be made easier if it's someone like Eric Holcomb, certainly. But in a lot of ways, this resets the gubernatorial campaign.
And before we go, quick question. Former Governor, State Senator Evan Bayh entered the race for Senate in Indiana. What changes with Bayh entering?
Well, that makes that now a very competitive race. Bayh comes in with a lot of money. Todd Young's still arguably the front runner, but that's a pretty narrow lead, I'd say, for him.
All right. Thank you very much, Brandon.